This snippet is Identifying the Source of Layout Problems in SuperPreview. My name is Jeremy Osborne, presenting from AGI Training for Microsoft. In this snippet, you'll learn how to identify the source of layout problems in a web page using the box highlighting and lights out highlighting features in SuperPreview. So we'll get started here in Expression Web 3, and here I have a web page that I'm pretty happy with. However, I'd now like to compare the rendering of this page in a number of different browsers. In order to do that, I'm going to choose File, Display in SuperPreview. SuperPreview appears, and let's just take a moment to review our setup. In the bottom left-hand corner, I can see that my baseline browser, or the one that I'd like to compare all my other browsers to, is Internet Explorer 8. So the first step is to look at this layout and make sure that it looks the way you want. I'm going to go ahead and say it's fine, and now what I'd like to do is compare it to other browsers. So in order to do that, I'm actually going to zoom out just a bit by clicking on the zoom button and going to 62% so I can see the whole page. Now let's look at this group here. I can see three browsers here. Currently I'm looking at this page compared to Firefox 3.5, but then I also have options to compare it to Internet Explorer 7 as well as Internet Explorer 6. So three comparisons taking place here. So comparing this page in Firefox to Internet Explorer 8, I'm pretty happy with the results, so I'm going to remove Firefox from the list by clicking Close. Now I'm comparing Internet Explorer 8 on the left to Internet Explorer 7, and here I can see there's a problem. So I have three paragraphs here. However, the paragraphs are not wrapping or floating around this list of links here. So this is a problem. I'd like this page to match this one. Let's go ahead and look at Internet Explorer 6 and see if the same problem exists. I'll click on 6, and I can see that not only does that problem exist, but another one. In other words, watch closely here as I toggle between 7 and 6. So in addition to the problem of the text not wrapping, I also have an additional space down here at the bottom. However, the way I'm going to tackle these problems is to try to solve the difference between 7 and 8 first, and then worry about any other differences that might exist. So in order to isolate this problem, I'm going to go ahead and click on this second paragraph here in Internet Explorer 8 view. Now currently I'm in the box highlighting mode. And when I'm in the box highlighting mode, the element that I click on will be selected, and additionally, some values will appear in the bottom left. So the value here is 652 by 111, and we can see left and top values. This is showing us how far that element is from the top left-hand corner of the screen. On the right-hand side, we can see that element is also highlighted in green. However, the size and the left and top values are much different. So this is the big warning sign. This is telling us that there's a problem. Now we have another mode that we can use to make this a little bit more obvious. If we go up to the very top of the screen, there's a small light bulb icon here. I'll click on that, and this is called the Lights Out highlighting mode. What this does is really bring into relief the problem. It highlights the element so that we can really see the difference between these pages. Let's go ahead and click on that third paragraph. Again, we can see the same problem. So in many ways, the difference between these views is really one of a visual aid. Now for this example, I'm going to assume that I know the problem once I see it. The problem is something called the float model. So Internet Explorer 8 renders this text correctly, Internet Explorer 7 and 6 does not. So I'm going to go back to Expression Web 3 by Alt-tabbing, and I'm going to dive into my code, and here I'm going to locate this rule here, height 100%. So here's the rule that's triggering that problem. I'm going to go ahead and delete that, save my file, and then Alt-tab back to SuperPreview. Once I'm back in SuperPreview, I'm going to refresh the screen. And we can see now that the problem is solved in 6, and if we click on 7, it's also solved. So this is great. Now let's take it one step further, and we're going to remove Internet Explorer 8 from the equation by closing it. And what I'd like to do is compare 7 to 6, because we had that other problem. Let's see if it's still there. So in this screen, I'll go up and click on 7. And now we can see that we're comparing 7 as my baseline with 6. Let's zoom out again so we can see the whole page. So for the most part, these two pages are almost exactly the same, but we do still have that problem. If I click on the footer in Internet Explorer 8 here on the left, I can see that there's a difference between the footer where it's supposed to be here and where it's actually placed in Internet Explorer 6. Now again, at this point it doesn't actually mean I know what the problem is, it simply means I've isolated it. And this is really the job of SuperPreview. In another snippet named Using DOM Highlighting, we'll learn how to identify this problem a little better. For now, this is Jeremy Osborne presenting from AGI Training for Microsoft.